Okay, all right. And then something to keep in mind, I think an earlier subject that we were talking about, submission process, you might want to consider, you know, having a flow chart and how things flow. And then keeping in mind that at some point, preferably, we'd like to have scientists, you know, contributing the information. So these are people who can probably just contribute an area that they're an expert in, but having it easy for them to submit that information. So just keeping that in mind when setting up any kind of system.
No, exactly. Experts, having them involved is definitely something I want. As I said in the international meeting, I spoke to Peter about it, and I asked him if he had contacts of anyone, and he literally just told me that the Venus Project has a place where people can get involved, which I feel we definitely need experts who and people who do have expertise in particular topics to get involved with this and to overlook particular areas. The problem with the way that science works in this world, and you know, as I mentioned last week, there was a program in the morning where they were interviewing a scientist who found something to do with Alzheimer's. They said, what is one of the hardest challenges of being a scientist? To which she said, it's the fact it's so competitive. You're all competing for grants. Therefore, you have to ensure that, you know, your research actually leads to something constructive. You can even look at it in pharmaceuticals. Why would companies spend millions of research to then find something which actually isn't the case and can't be used? You would lose loads of money. So they're always trying to push it in a way that does make profit, and therefore having this system where there is no money in it, we've got to just make it appeal to people. But hopefully as the momentum builds up and people realise it's a cause that is going to have a huge impact on the world, then hopefully more people will get on board.
Yeah, it would be wonderful if the process eventually is made so simple and easy that those that can contribute will, you know, quickly and just download the information that they've probably been researching for years. But, you know, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I'm just saying, keeping in mind when you set up your submission process, making it easy for people like that who have nothing to do with the movement and such. But I'm sure you already thought of that.
No, definitely. That's wicked. And definitely on the Facebook group, I'm going to do a video summarising all of this as much as I can. And I will be asking people to reply for those who feel they have a good grasp on what this vision is for this project, and ask those to step forward and help Rob, Bruce, Danette and I and everyone else and Jay on the team just take some more positive, stronger roles so we can sort of have a bit more structure, because at the moment, although it is early days, the sooner we have a strong structure put forward, the better.
I was going to raise just some thoughts about the brainstorming. We've had someone made a mention of when there was like opposing solutions, I suppose you could say, or opposing views on how certain solutions should be drawn to. I was wondering, has anyone got any good ideas on how to? I mean, of course we will want to. I think this is my thinking. When there is an opposing view on a public brainstorming pirate pad, I was thinking, just if you've got an opposing view, put your points down separately as an opposing view, and if you've got any facts and figures or any kind of scientific backing for your view, then that can go down as well. And it's really just something where, I mean, because I saw it when you know, when the document was being written, it was like this, and this, and then someone else put in a kind of extra clause, and then changing the, you know, it was quite. I mean, it's a bit of a mystery at the moment.
Rob, are you referring to the bullying pad? Because I know what I've been listening to what Miles was already saying about the self-defense, but I think that might be what you're referring to, because I kind of put that as an opposing view, but after listening to what Miles was saying about we're looking for cause, not cure. I agree with what you're saying. If anything is like that, as long as it's more related to the cause of things, then yeah, it should be put separately.
I'm sure you meant exactly what I said there, but I just wanted to make sure you understood, because you said that we were looking for the cause and not the cure. What I'm saying is we actually cure the cause as opposed to the symptoms as a result. So actually we are looking for solutions, but solutions that are directly associated with the cause.
Yeah, so that's what I meant, yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Okay. So what if there's an issue that Rob was bringing up about two different opposing views on cures for the cause?
There'll be times when there'll be more than one solution, and I think when it's brainstorming, then it's a matter for, if someone's talking about one issue, there's always, in the brainstorming, just put it. It can go in a separate section, for now, and if you're passionate about your solution, then it's a matter of getting the science and the facts and the references and everything.
Yeah, and just to add, really, the way it's... Sorry, if I could just quickly add. The way that these pages have been laid out, I explained there are frequently asked questions underneath the initial question and paragraph, is when you're doing these questions, these FAQs, they are going to be... The question is kind of the problem. The question is saying, how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? And paragraphs are giving solutions to these specific questions. So if we have more than one or opposing conflicting cures to problems and solutions, then actually we've got to look at this more in detail and actually think about how can we lay this out on the Wikipad so we can have both, because they actually may go under different headings. Like one of the questions could be, how do we deal with this? And then you have a paragraph explaining the solution, but then you say, but then as an extra heading, but what about this issue? And we go, well, yes, this research explains this. And just openly say more research is needed to clarify which is the case. But in a lot of cases, there are many facets to one particular problem.
Yeah, anyways, as I was going to say, sorry, I was just going to say real quick, I don't see any reason why we possibly can't have both particular views being represented in case of both seem to be very viable solutions, but they conflict with one another in regards to the steps. They can both be represented on the site. One doesn't have to be representative of the other.
Going back to my original question, I was only talking about the brainstorming and, just for people's productivity. But also with the bullying example, the bullying example has, there's a lot you can do in that situation, but stopping the bully from, just to go in as this example, stopping the bully from from abusing yourself only puts that bully onto someone else, a weaker fish, so to speak. But there's plenty of fish in the sea for that bully. But the core, of course, is looking at the bully's him or herself, and what's the behavioural. So there's a whole region that we haven't even started writing about in the bullying section as far as solutions, and that's where it's the solution we need to direct our attention to, the core solution.
Yeah, it's a good point, Rob, because I agree with you. We've mainly been focusing, particularly with that part, on solutions once bullying is happening, but it's more focusing on how to stop it in the first place.
Which could have more than one way to do it. So then that's something to be considered is how to list the multiple solutions to the cause.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I was wondering what everyone thought of doing wiki pages and solutions on like current big issues in the world. Like the thing that came to mind for me was the Israel-Palestine sort of civil, I guess you could call it a civil war. I mean, are we going to touch them, or are we just going to go into civil wars? And give me some ideas here.
Well, yeah, it's not a civil war, but in terms of how we could deal with that, I guess, again, it's looking at the causes of what causes the behaviour, what causes the confliction. So, yeah, you could have a specific question saying, it's going to be very difficult. I really feel that questions like this, if we're building a list of the most important questions to be asking to the least important, I think this is not going to be that high up on the list at the moment, just because it is based on, you know, a lot of different factors, but actually we could be asking much broader questions which actually do have implications to this. So the political elements, the spiritual elements, the scarcity of resources, the fact that there are divisions built between countries, all this sort of stuff.
You know what there could be is sort of a, I don't want to say blanket solution, but a solution that applies to any war. But since when that broke out, that was probably a lot of research online, and people would put that into Google and Google Palestine, all the things that were going on. And it could be a way to link, if for the audience acquisition part, we can put a quick wiki up depending on what's happening in the world, and then have that sort of blanket solution, I guess, that goes to any war. It applies to any war, and then link that out to people so that they can research that. And there should be like a Facebook link on there and a Twitter link on there, so people can put it out on their Facebook. I don't know if that was clear.
Yeah, I like that idea actually. Like,
yeah, it's just the idea, like, of having, like Wikipedia has, you have a featured article, and by having a featured article, it relates to specific events in the world. So if the Israel-Palestine thing hits up high on the media agenda, on the featured article, you'd have Palestine-Israel, and there's no reason why you can't create a new page for it, but then that page actually is just a list of links to the different elements. So you could say, these are the problems X, Y, and Z, and when you click them, it takes you actually these blanket answers, as you coined the phrase.
Exactly, just to keep it relevant with current news, and then that can draw people in back to the website.
That's just a classic example of religious intolerance and bigotry. Israel and Palestine.
Yeah, but that's not going to be a satisfying answer, is it?
Well, I mean, you're never gonna be able to solve it unless both of them change certain aspects of their actual religion.
Okay.
Because they're mentalists.
Not really.
No, I don't. I disagree.
Agree.
I think.
okay, we're going on topic. Let's come back.
They hate each other.
Well, actually, before
Bring up their children to believe the Palestinians are inferior.
But then, I would then argue stuff like the Venus Project and that, is that not going to work, therefore, because we'll never bring people around. I think when you provide people with decent solutions, I think it can. I'm not going to say this is going to be solved overnight. I think actually having an information revolution could actually help a lot. So I wouldn't give up on them entirely, but yes, the point I made about if we built a list of different things of importance, I don't think that goes high up on the list currently, because that is such a complicated solution. And before Voice of Reason speaks, I was talking about my video that was given an overview of how this project is going to work. And an example of people that find it very hard to put their religion aside, I got this comment, and it comes from Catholic Liberation, which kind of sums up what sort of opinion they may have. And they said, a typical atheist, religious people want peace too, but we're not prepared to just abandon our beliefs because of science. We have our beliefs, and we simply just can't agree with other people based on science. Science is only another opinion. Atheists are scum of the earth. More wars have been caused by atheism than any other religion. Hitler and Stalin were atheists, point proven. Catholicism rules supreme. Yeah, wait, let me finish here, because there was a massive discussion. I'll link the video to this. And there's just people just complaining.
It sounds like an old statement.
Well, just to go on,